After 18 years, this is my final Fox News Sunday. It is the last time, and I say this with real sadness, we will meet like this. But after 18 years, I have decided to leave Fox. I want to try something new, to go beyond politics to all the things I'm interested in. I'm ready for a new adventure, and I hope you'll check it out.
So that is Chris Wallace of Fox News announcing with very little lead up that he's going to be ending his nearly 2 decades with Fox News, vaguely saying, I'm gonna do something else and I hope you'll stay tuned. So sort of vague, implying that stick around, I'll eventually reveal what I'm doing. Like 5 minutes later, it was revealed that he's gonna be an anchor for CNN Plus, a streaming service launching in early 2022. According to a press release from CNN, Wallace will host a weekday show featuring interviews with newsmakers across politics, business, sports, and culture. Okay, so Francesca, what do you think about the passing of Chris Wallace from Fox, not like from this earthly coil or whatever?
I don't know. It's all so incestuous when it comes to mainstream news that I'm not surprised at all. And I mean, part of me was like, oh, Chris Wallace was a holdout and he made sense and he, reported reality and stuff on Fox News and somehow kept them honest, although said nothing when he was being openly run roughshod over during the debate between Trump and Biden last year. But okay, and now we learned that Trump probably had COVID when he was at that debate and put everyone at risk, and Chris Wallace said nothing or did nothing, and he lied to him. Cool, whatever. I mean, I love that he's like a new adventure, and you're like, ugh, that sounds like streaming. That sounds like streaming. Every time you say new adventure, like innovative something, I'm like, ooh, that's another plus. That's another.
He's sitting in the same studio or a different studio, but it's a studio. There's a camera pointed at him and it goes somewhere.
Well, I'm not going to move, but the backdrop will be different. So I hope you enjoy my MSN Fox and Plus. What? Where am I?
He is moving. He's coming towards us. So anyway, look, yes, when he gets to CNN, I don't care what he does there, and it's probably not going to affect my life in literally any way. In terms of like what he represented for Fox, it's like I think 2 things can be true at the same time. One, of what they have, he is, aside from twice a year Geraldo, like the only person who will say anything that hasn't been like carefully molded to accomplish the right's political goals. He will occasionally question that. That is true. But like it's only by comparison. He's not some like awesome guy with the best interests of the working class and all that. He's a slightly older school Republican who might not like Trump, or who might have, let's keep it real, said a few critical things that got massive backlash from Trump fans. And it might be the backlash that has made him feel a little bit freer to occasionally question Donald Trump. But regardless, that doesn't mean that like, man, it's just like they had good journalists and now they don't. They've been trashed for a long time. And I want to give credit to the Majority Report, who had tweeted out this thing from Brian Stelter about Chris Wallace's departure speaks volumes about Fox News's increasing radicalism, which like, yes, it is getting worse. But as they point out in this tweet, they also spent a couple of years with Glenn Beck mapping out the like international network of Obama being controlled by Jewish people and stuff like that. So yes, they're worse in some ways, but they've always been really bad. And it's easy, I think, to forget how bad they've been. They're worse in some ways, but they sucked for years.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'll say about Chris Wallace is he had the decency to keep his opinions to himself. And like, I honestly, I realize we're on an opinion show, and but I don't consider myself like a journalist and on a mainstream news channel. I'm not. I don't think I will be. But I do value a certain amount of not necessarily objectivity, because I think that's not honest. I think even the things that you don't choose to cover, but a little bit of fairness and a little bit of like shut up about your own thoughts. Because if we actually knew what Chris Wallace thought, he probably thinks that like, gay people are unnatural and women should stay in the home, but he doesn't say that. He has a decency to not like spew that out of his mouth. so I'm like, I do like some of that. And in fact, I think he might fit with CNN more perfectly. I mean, they're like 3/4 robot and like 1/4. I don't know, coffee. I'm not sure. I don't know what animates Wolf Blitzer at this point.
That's true. Does he need coffee anymore? I think he just absorbs static electricity from the atmosphere. Yeah, you're right. Like, some people will see this as like a right winger going to CNN, like, oh, someone from Fox is going to CNN. But really, it's like he kind of was like CNN on Fox News. Like,
yeah,
what do they think CNN is? I understand that other people on Fox pretend that it's like it's like a commune over there or something. But no, it's pretty much him.
Yeah.
And we wanted to run you through a few of the other people that CNN has recently and in the past hired. Great work from our production team. So just recently, Alyssa Farah was hired on. She was a spokesperson for Donald Trump. So that was fun. So like Kayleigh McEnany or Kellyanne Conway, these are people who only had jobs there because it was believed that they could deliver lies semi-plausibly or at least entertainingly. And so why not hire them to comment on incredibly consequential political developments? We also had a pro-Trump contributor, Paris Denard, having to leave CNN after being suspended. So great track record for some of these people. Jeffrey Lord was fired for using a Nazi slogan. Jason Miller left because of some legal troubles that were going on. Rick Santorum after he attacked Native American culture. So this is, look, there are some great questions to ask about the state of Fox. Let's have that conversation. But let's also talk about the state of CNN. What the hell is going on with them over the last decades?
Well, I think what's interesting about their hires on the right is that they're all like clearly lying and they're full of ish and they have worked in and out of the Trump administration. And they can say any kind of wild things they want. And then they don't really have anyone from the other side. I know they had at one point a contributor from Justice Democrats. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah. Executive director.
Yeah. So there's been like some movement, but like I don't think that they just don't. They more have like, well, we're gonna fight fire with, Anderson Cooper, right?
Well, like, what they would say is they would say Van Jones, I guess.
Yeah, and I would once again disagree with that. I have to say, sometimes Fox, when they get it right, like when they actually have a left person or a progressive person that they're trying to sort of prop up as a straw man to sort of to punch at and be like, look at how crazy they are. I know Nomiki Konst has gone on a couple times, and but when they actually have debates, sometimes they're way better than anything you'll see on CNN or Fox.
Sure.
Like light years better because they're actually talking about the issue and they're actually getting a real progressive on to defend something from a place of principle rather than a place of sort of politicking. But that's very rare.
Yeah, and now like I don't know what they have. I mean, like so Alexandra Rojas is who we were talking about before. She, like, I just checked. It says on her Twitter profile that she's still a political commentator for them. I don't know if she's been on recently. Like they were bringing on her a lot back during the primary.
Yes.
And that was when Chris Cuomo was regularly having Cenk and Anna, and I even went on once. Like they were bringing on progressives during the primary, perhaps because it really looked like Bernie might win. But they don't seem, absent elections, they don't seem to have any interest of having just persistent representation for a growing segment of the population's political ideology. They just don't. And why would they? They don't want that to be more publicized. They don't want to have that be a part of the conversation. So instead, you're lucky if you get people who are holdovers from, they used to work for Obama. And then you go from that all the way to literally the craziest right wingers. That is the spectrum that they will generally allow.
Yeah, anyway. And then a Vanderbilt. Once again, Anderson Cooper, the heir to the Vanderbilt fortune.
How many heirs do we need in media?
A lot.
And apparently more. Okay, with that, let's move on to a very different move. We'll see what happens with Chris Wallace, or more likely won't because I don't care. what he does there. He'll interview Elon Musk, and then he'll interview like maybe Jon Stewart. That'll be interesting. That'll be the new adventure.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.